Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier, and this is Jason, and we are back with the second half of our top 10 films of 2006. So this will be our part 2 edition. If you missed the first show, so we did our number 10 through number 6. This will be number 5 through number 1. We'll also do some honorable mentions after our top 5. And then, of course, you'll want to stick around because we'll do our challenge films for 2007. So, well, we got a lot of films to cover. So without further ado, I say we just get right into it, man. So let's get into it.
Sure.
Jason, what is your number 5 film for 2006?
Okay, my number 5 film is one that I don't own. And a lot of people probably have not.
Lame.
Yeah, whatever. A lot of people have probably not seen it, but it's a movie called Manufactured Landscapes. All right. So, yes, there we go. So it's a documentary. There's a better poster than that, Kier. You got the wrong one, but it's okay.
I've never seen the film, so I have no clue.
I know. Hardly but so Manufactured Landscapes is if you are a fan of photography, it's a really amazing documentary. It's basically about a photographer named Edward Bertinsky, who has made a living of taking photographs of basically the effect that humanity has had on the world, reflected through these amazing photos of just massive proportion, which are a little more interesting than that one in the poster there. Sorry, but there's some amazing basically what people have done to the earth, and it's not like some tree hugger documentary by any means, but it is pretty amazing when it shows you like aerial photographs of damming of locations or these massive junkyards, and basically just there's photographs in this movie that don't even look like Earth. It looks like you're looking at like some alien planet from some sci-fi movie or something, and it's just like if you are a documentary fan, a fan of photography, a fan of oh my God, I can't believe what I'm looking at is real. It's an amazing, amazing documentary. So I know hardly anybody has seen it. I haven't seen it in probably 10 years, but I do know it. I do know that it absolutely floored me when I watched it. So yeah, if you're a visual person, fan of photography, watch that movie. Trust me, you won't regret it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Never heard of it, but sounds like some photography for sure. Oh, man. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe one of in the near future, I'll check that out. So
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
Probably not, but you never know.
Man, whatever.
Hey, you never know, man. You never know. Probably not doesn't mean definitely not.
It's probably better than your number 5.
Well, it's not.
Okay.
And people have seen my number 5, so they're gonna know what it is. My number 5. And we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier. It wasn't in your bottom half, but it's similar to another film, which is going to be The Illusionist.
Oh yeah,
so,
better.
Yeah. So The Illusionist. So obviously in Jason's bottom half, he had the other. So 2006 had 2 really big films about basically magicians, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Yours was what was the name of that other film?
Prestige.
The Prestige, with Christopher Nolan directed. The Illusionist stars Edward Norton as basically a magician that gets involved in kind of like he I guess fancies someone else's wife who happens to be he's like a king or a prince or something like that. I can't remember, like royal family kind of thing. And he basically fancies this person's wife and is basically, kind of sneaking off with her while he's also doing like these really, really amazing like magic tricks that no one can figure out how he's doing it. And there's basically kind of a murder mystery that happens involving the woman that he is seeing. And it's weird because it's kind of a murder mystery, but the story is also kind of being told through his magic tricks and performances. So It's a really interesting film, a little bit hard to describe, but and one that I haven't seen in almost a decade myself. Obviously, I don't own it, but one that I've always enjoyed. And like I said, I remember when both those films came out. It was like there were a lot of people that liked the Prestige. There were a lot of people that were on the Illusionist side, and I was clearly more on the Illusionist side because I didn't care for the Prestige at all. So my number 5 is the Illusionist.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I remember liking it. I don't remember having really strong feelings about it. It was good. I definitely gravitated more. You know me, I like the darker, weirder, more hard to classify stuff. So the Illusionist to me was good, but it wasn't great. Whereas the Prestige took me more off guard. So I like that experience a little more. But I remember liking it. Yeah. Whatever happened to Edward Norton? That was back when Edward Norton was in like everything. I haven't seen him.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really, really good question. I'm not really for sure what happened to him, but he was kind of everywhere, like in like the mid 2000s, latter 2000s. You know what I mean? Then I don't know. Last 5 years, I haven't really seen him in as many films. I'm sure if we thought about it,
he could open a movie like that, like he's the main star of that movie.
Yeah, I'm sure if we thought about it, there'd be other films that he's been in, but I just can't think of them off the top of my head recently. Yeah. So cool. All right, number 4, sir.
Number 4 for me is Pan's Labyrinth. So I am a big Guillermo del Toro fan. I haven't loved every single thing he's done, but I am a big fan of Guillermo del Toro. This movie is probably his best movie in my opinion. But it is it's set during the I can't remember what war it is. It's a war film. I think it's the Spanish-American War. I'm not 100% sure, but whatever war it is not that important. The war is the backdrop. The main character is a little girl who basically the setup of this movie, and I know it's not the only time it's ever been done, but the little girl in the movie retreats into a fantasy world in the movie that you're never quite sure whether it's real or it's just her young mind kind of making sense of the horrors of the world around her, because it's a war movie and it's a fantasy at the same time. And this movie was like it was in Spanish, but it wound up being a huge box office hit, which I thought was really cool. I think it's really cool whenever a foreign language film winds up being a hit. Because I'm sure, he had made movies in English at that point, and I'm sure, his financiers would probably have rather him made it in English, but he didn't. So I thought that was cool. But yeah, I think it's probably Guillermo del Toro's best film. It's absolutely beautiful to look at. It's got a really rich mythology. It's got some really cool monsters and cool special effects, and it has a really powerful ending. So number 4 for me is easily Pan's Labyrinth.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was his best film. I probably lean more towards like Blade 2 or something. I don't know, but yeah, I thought it was okay. I didn't love it as much as you did. It's a little weird, a little strange in parts, and I don't do weird as much as you do either. So visually I remember it being good, but overall I don't remember a whole lot about the story other than it being a little weird visually. But I just can't say that I loved it personally. So, but cool. Good choice.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. It won't make my top 10 or honorable mentions, but it's definitely one of the top 200 films of that year. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so it's definitely up there. So if we revisit and we do a top 200 films of 2006,
I don't see that happening.
Then definitely. Cool. My number 4 film will need no real introduction. Is going to be The Departed, which is obviously the big Oscar winner. I believe, did it win Best Director or Best Picture?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I know it was Scorsese's like first big. Like, I think it was Best Director, I believe. His first, winning that after all the movies that he's done. Most people have know of The Departed. Obviously, it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg. It's basically about, an Irish, gangster movie, basically, in a sense, where Leo DiCaprio is basically a cop that infiltrates like mobsters, and Matt Damon's character is basically a thug that infiltrates the cops kind of thing. So it's kind of like a switcheroo kind of thing. But one that I've always enjoyed, I thought it was great. I don't think it's Scorsese's best film. And I remember there was a big deal because they kind of felt like it was a gimme award for him because of all the great movies that he's done prior to that, the Goodfellas and Mean Streets and all that kind of stuff. And I agree with that as well. So I understand that it does get some flack for that. Obviously, it wasn't my favorite film of the year, but definitely it's in my top 5. And so my number 4 is going to be The Departed.
Cool. Yeah, I like The Departed a lot. Like you said, I don't think it's like top tier Scorsese, but it's definitely really good. It's in the really good Scorsese category. I don't remember why, but I remember being I wasn't that into Jack Nicholson's performance. I don't remember why, because I haven't watched it in 10 years, but I don't remember. I remember being disappointed in his performance. I don't remember why. I don't know why. Because I love Jack Nicholson, but I don't know. I can't remember why. Yeah,
one of his final performances as well, because he didn't make too many films. I felt like after that, anyways. So, right?
No. So I mean, like he did a couple of like old man comics after that, I think probably, but that was the last one that he was really trying. I don't remember what I didn't like about Jack Nicholson. I could be totally wrong. I don't know, but I do. I haven't seen it in a long time, but it's a really good movie for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Number 3.
Yeah. Number 3 for me is United 93. So this is a tough movie for sure. It came out in 2006, which it involves the September 11th, 2001 September 11th tragedy. And even coming out in 2006, which was 5 years later, it still felt really, it's still a raw, open wound in a lot of ways to explore this movie. This movie, of course, is about the flight that didn't actually make it where it was intended to go, and the hostages actually took over the plane and made it crash. I can understand why a lot of people maybe didn't want to watch this movie in 2006, and probably a lot of people still don't want to watch this movie. But it is a really, really excellent movie. It's really tense, of course. I like that the cast is completely. I think there's like one maybe actor who's been in a few things, but for the most part, the actors are unknown. Which it wouldn't have felt right to have like stars in this movie for sure. But the acting is really good. The cinematography is really good. The editing is really good. I think Paul Greengrass was the guy to do it, because he was a really talented filmmaker who'd already made really raw and politically charged thrillers, So, I think, a controversial movie back then, still a controversial movie probably, but I think it's a really great movie that does not cheapen the subject matter one bit. So it's a really excellent movie. That's my number 3 for the year, United 93.
Yeah, no, definitely one that I enjoy. It didn't make my top 10, and I didn't necessarily include in my honorable mentions. It probably would have been around number 18 or something of that nature. I did enjoy it. It is really grim. It is one that, I don't know, I feel like it's the kind of film you'll watch once, but most people I don't think are going to revisit. You know what I mean? So it's not one that I would own just for that. I'm never going to be in the mood to pull out, 93 and watch it. Let's put it that way. But it is a powerful film. It is a very good film as well directed, obviously, well acted, very intense. We saw another movie recently that dealt with the same hijacking story that we reviewed previously as well. I can't think of the name of it, but I remember comparing it to this one, saying it wasn't quite as up to par as this one. But yeah, definitely a good film. Definitely one that, if you can stomach it, I definitely recommend you check out because it is a powerful film. But I totally get that it's not for everybody, and it's barely even for me. Like I said, I wouldn't include it in my top 10, and I probably wouldn't revisit it just because it is so, it's so real and sad, basically. So, yeah. So, but cool, good choice.
Yeah.
All right. Can we lighten the mood? No. But yeah, good choice. So my number 3, and I don't own this one either, so I'm gonna have to bring this one in. It's gonna be Apocalypto. which is it's a bad cover. That's weird. Apocalypto. I didn't see it when I brought it in. It looks so grainy. So basically, Mel Gibson directed this one, and it's basically set. It's about Native Americans or Indians, and it's basically set before any settlers from Europeans have come. So basically, it's about these different these groups of basically young kids, young adults, basically that are basically kind of like kidnapped from another like tribe, basically, and are basically going to be killed. And in a nutshell, they end up like escaping and running, and they're being like chased and hunted. So it's an action movie. It's very, very violent. It's got a very unique feel to it. I really enjoy it. And this was at the point when Mel Gibson's, star was already, he was already kind of starting to falter at this point, where a lot of people didn't like him anymore. Yeah. But, he's always been a good actor, and he's always been a pretty decent director for most of the films that I've seen him direct as well. So definitely one I highly urge you to check out. I don't remember what it did at the box office. I think it was just like right around his like spiraling out of control period, but definitely one that I enjoyed, and definitely urge anyone to check out Apocalypto. So. Yeah,
I really liked Apocalypto. I haven't seen it since 2006. I saw it in the theater, but I do remember like being, it was, yeah, you're right. I mean, like by that point, like his people, I don't remember why at that point, because there's been other things since then. But at that point, for sure, it was like the court of public opinion was not on his side at that point. Maybe for the first time. He
was, I want to say he was saying some really outlandish, borderline like racist stuff around that period of time. During that period of time, he was, definitely coming across as like, maybe a little racist, a little edgy things that he was saying. And I know there was like a recorded phone call, and I want to say it was maybe around this time, maybe right before that, where he said a bunch of like really off the wall stuff. I don't know if he's talking like an ex-wife or something. So I want to say this movie might have suffered because of that.
Probably.
But it is a really, really good film. He's not in it. He just directs it, but it is a really, really good film, and great action, very violent film as well, but definitely one that if you haven't seen before, I definitely urge you to check out.
Yeah, and I mean, it was something I respect about it is that it was kind of a box office gamble anyway, because there's no names in it. I think the whole entire thing is subtitled, right?
Yeah, the entire thing's subtitled. There's no big names in it. I really think he purposely used, I think, real Native Americans for this film, I believe. And they were speaking kind of in their native tongue. So it is definitely, it was definitely a risk for him to do this one for sure.
Yeah. So. Yeah. But I remember being really absorbed in it. I remember really liking it, and I should probably check it out again since it's been 14 years since I've seen it.
Yeah. I used to own it. I don't have it anymore. It's one that I definitely am going to rebuy for sure at some point. So because I want to see it again also. So that is number 3 for me is Apocalypto.
Cool. All right. So my number 2, I apologize. I'm not going to be lightening the mood here anymore since my previous United 93. But my number 2 is the Spike Lee documentary When the Levees Broke. So not lightening the mood here. It's a 4-part documentary. I'm going to count it. Because it's it was eligible for Oscars that year, if I remember right, because I think they did meet the requirements to show it all at one time in a theater. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it was up for Oscars that year. But it's a documentary about Hurricane Katrina, which seems so long ago now, but it was a extremely devastating hurricane that really leveled a lot of New Orleans. And this movie is about not just the hurricane, but the aftermath, especially the aftermath of the hurricane. And especially it's extremely critical of the mishandling of the aftermath and just the devastation that people were in, and that they were allowed to be without help for so long, and so many people that died that didn't have to die. But it's a pretty grueling movie. it's one that I have revisited United 93 once, but I haven't revisited this one because it is really devastating, but it is also extremely powerful too. Spike Lee's one of my favorite directors. I really like his documentaries, especially. Well, I wouldn't say especially because I like a lot of his movies a lot, but I really like his documentaries, and this is like I said, it's grueling, it's difficult to watch, but it's definitely rewarding and provocative, and it's really a masterpiece. So that's my number 2 for 2006 is When the Levees Broke.
Cool. Yeah. I don't think I've seen this one all the way through. I don't recall anyways. I know I've seen bits and pieces of it here and there, or I just don't remember the whole thing. So I really can't comment too much on it. I do remember, it is another one of those ones. It's probably hard to stomach, and it's another one of those ones that if I've seen all of it or not, I'm probably not gonna rewatch it just because it is kind of doom and gloom again. Definitely, thanks for bringing the fun. But yeah, I'm sure it's a great film. Definitely a powerful film. But I could see not a lot of people want to run out and watch, When the Levees Broke. So, but it is a powerful film. It's an important film, and sometimes you have to watch films like these or United 93, so that hopefully history doesn't repeat itself. You know what I mean? Hopefully we learn from these types of things and our response time for when there are hurricanes and how we handle those situations and how we deal with that kind of stuff. So I think these types of films are kind of a teachable moment. So I think they are very important. But obviously not everybody's going to want to rush out and see those kinds of films either. That's the only kicker with those. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know.
Cool. Some people might though.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not saying nobody will.
Yeah.
Some people might.
Yeah.
Cool. That was number 2.
Yep.
Well, I'm definitely going to lighten the load with my number 2 because it's let's have some fun. So my number 2 is definitely a comedy, and it is one of my favorite comedies of all time. I love this movie. I watch it all the time. I probably watch it at least once a year, and I just can't get enough of it. So it is going to be Grandma's Boy. So that's my number 2. I just love this film. It's just so wacky. It's a Happy Madison production, so basically, it's all of Adam Sandler's people basically, and it's actually about basically game testers, so like video game testers. It's a little hard to describe because it's basically the main character basically gets kicked out of his apartment and has to go basically move in with his grandmother because that's the only place he has to live, and it's just a really just wacky, funny film. There's a lot of obviously drug use. There's a lot of funny elements. There's a lot of sex jokes and that sort of stuff. But if you need something that you can just check your brain out and just laugh, and some of the weirdest, wackiest characters, then this is definitely one that I urge you to check out. There's a guy that literally thinks he's a robot in this film, and he is hilarious. So so that's my number 2 is Grandma's Boy.
Cool. Yeah, I remember liking that movie. I remember not expecting a whole lot from that movie because I do like Adam Sandler, but he's produced a lot of pretty not good movies. So I think and he wasn't even in it. It was just like when it was released, the reviews were really bad, and it was kind of just like, oh, it's another movie that he just kind of tossed out. It's got his friend. It's just his friends goofing off. It's a waste of time. But I remember liking it. I remember thinking it was.
Yeah, and it's kind of a cult following now as well. You know what I mean? I talked to a lot of people in a lot of circles that really love this movie.
Back in 2006 in the theater. But I remember being surprised by how good it was. So yeah.
Cool. I love it. I just think it's hilarious. So it's just really funny to me. So
yeah. Wow. From When the Levees Broke to Grandma's Boy.
Yeah, man, you got to switch it up, man. You got to keep the people on their toes.
I'm Debbie Downer. I'm Debbie Downer this year.
Yeah, man. Well, hopefully your number 1 is your number 1 also going to be a downer?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, it's lightening the mood slightly because at least it's fantasy, but it's still pretty grim. Okay, so my number one. Were you done on Grandma's Boy?
Yeah, I'm done on Grandma's Boy.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. So my number one is easily Children of Men. Okay. So this is lightening the mood a little bit, but it's still pretty grim stuff. It's a science fiction movie by, of course, Alfonso Cuarón, who went on to, before this, he had made Y tu mamá también, and probably the only Harry Potter movie that I really like, which is Prisoner of Azkaban. And after this, he would make Gravity, Roma. Really talented director. But this movie, it's science fiction. It takes place in the year 2027, which actually not too far from now, when all of a sudden, basically, and nobody really knows why, but all of a sudden women can't bear children anymore. Nobody knows why, if it's pollution, nobody knows why. But basically that means that the people that are on the planet right now are going to be the only ones. After everyone who's alive now dies, it's over pretty much. But Clive Owen, is led to is made aware of the fact that there is one woman that's pregnant, and basically he has to get her somewhere safe. That's the movie, and it's a really fascinating movie. It's got a really cool visual style. There's about 3 scenes here that are single shot takes, and I am a big fan of complicated single shots that just kind of take your breath away. Later on when he did Roma, he did the same thing, like several really just like mind-boggling, complicated single take scenes, which is what I'm talking about is like there's no cuts, no editing, just like it's amazing. I'm really a big fan of when somebody does that well. And there's about 3 of those scenes in this movie that are just like, especially one set in a car, that just will blow your mind. But yeah, it's got really great action. It's got really great acting. Julianne Moore's in there also. Clive Owen is one of those actors who I've never really appreciated as much as I think I should have, because I'm watching The Nick on Cinemax, which is the Steven Soderbergh series that he's the main actor in. And he's like a really great actor, and I don't know why I've never really given him that credit. But he's really great in here. He's really great in The Nick. But I think it's just a really great movie overall. It's one that I need to revisit because I also haven't watched it in a long time. But I watched it at least maybe 3 times in the theater, and I've watched it at home at least twice. But it's been a while. So that's my number one, Children of Men.
Cool. You showed me this one. I didn't like it as much as you did, obviously. So I wasn't a huge fan of it. It's not as grim as that other End of the World one that that we watched that came around the same time. I can't think of it right now. The one that was like really, really grim and dark and like gray. I can't think of the name of it right now, but this one's still a little grim, but
Gray Zone?
No. It was the end of the It was End of the World movie. I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. So it's like a father and son were together. The wife. The Road. Yeah, it's not as grim as that one, but it's still a little grim for my taste. So, but I didn't hate it. I just didn't care for it as much. So it was one of those ones that I felt no need to revisit. But cool. Good choice.
Yeah, I know. That's movie 2006.
No, it's not. It's not even going to be in my honorable mentions. So
scientifically proven cure.
In the world of Jason.
Yeah.
And Jason alone. My number one is actually interesting because I'm usually not a fan of these films for whatever reason, but I don't know, for some reason I just love the hell out of this film. So my number one for 2006 is actually going to be, and might even be a surprise for you, is going to be Casino Royale. So yeah, I'm not a big Bond fan overall. I know there's a lot of people that are, sacrilegious to say anything negative about the Bond films, but I always felt they were always a little bit stuffy. The previous ones, shaken, not stirred, kind of stuff like that. I always felt they were a little stuffy until they added Daniel Craig. And then they pretty much make Daniel Craig more like a Jason Bourne kind of Bond, basically. He could fight. He's a little cooler. He was a little bit more, a little more on the ball than some of the stuffier ones that they had. You know what I mean? And, And like the classic line in this one is shaken or not stirred, and he's like, I don't give a damn, just give me the drink. You know what I mean? And that's I kind of like that twist about it. It's a very interesting story. It obviously takes place in a casino, and I just love it. I get a kick out of this film every time I watch it. I like I said, I think that like he just brought like a really refreshing take on it, on the Bond character. I didn't love all the other films that he did. I like some of them, some more than others, but this one was my favorite, and it's actually my favorite Bond film as well. Like I said, I've never been a huge Bond fan overall. I think I like Die Another Day. That's about the only other one that I really like or own. But this one is I think this one's awesome. I think it's the best Bond film in my opinion, and in my opinion, it was the best film of the year. So that's my number one, Casino Royale.
Cool. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. Like you, I'm not a big Bond fan in general. I'm not huge on the the international espionage kind of stuff, really, in general. But I've just never been into the Bond movies. I don't know if I've ever seen a single one of the Sean Connery ones. Even though
I saw one of them, but for me they're a little dated. For me, you know what I mean? Because they're older. I know that a lot of people grew up on those or watched them when they were kids. I didn't even really start watching any Bond films till I was an adult. Yeah. So when I did go back and watch some of the Sean Connery ones and Roger Moore ones and those ones, I couldn't resonate with them. They felt older and stuffy to me. So
yeah. It's just not my cup of tea, really. But I do appreciate, like you said, that Daniel Craig brought a little bit more of a raw feel to it that I liked. I do remember liking Casino Royale a lot. I do remember thinking that it went on too long. I remember thinking that. Again, I've only seen it the one time in 2006, but I did prefer Skyfall. I really like Skyfall a lot. But I never even saw Quantum of Solace, and Spectre like bored me to tears. So it's just not my genre, really. But I did like Casino Royale, and I like Skyfall even more. So cool. Yeah.
Well, I'll run through my honorable mentions real quick, because I only use 5.
Yeah.
Number 15 was Little Miss Sunshine, which I really enjoy. 14 is Borat, which is super funny but also super gross. Yeah. 13 is A Scanner Darkly. It's one that I didn't necessarily love when I first saw it, but it grew on me over the years. 12 actually grew on me over the years as well. We both watched this one, and we both came away not really loving this one, but I watched it again, and I kind of liked it a little bit more, which was Miami Vice.
I need to watch it again.
Yeah, I rewatched it again years back, and I was just like, I guess because I was in my head expecting something different, and it didn't have that, but just the visuals of that movie are just so, like, the night. Michael Mann, I mean, say what you want about him, but like I think we had this discussion before, when he can just light up the LA nightlife, like or Miami or wherever you're at. He can just light up the city like nobody else at night. He's got the coolest night scenes, and most of this film is filmed at night, and with jet skis, and there's lots of action, tons of violence. I don't know. I just enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. So it's a shame that it didn't become a bigger hit. And then number 11 for me is The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith, which is just a really good, feels good story. So,
yeah, cool. Yeah, I need to watch Miami Vice again probably, because I didn't like it at all back then, even though I'm a huge Michael Mann fan. Heat, Manhunter, Collateral. I like Thief. But you're right. Like nobody shoots the city at night like him. And I have a lot of friends who just love that movie. And I just thought it was completely mediocre when I saw it. So
I kind of came away with that same feeling. I might have liked it a little bit more than you did, because I think we watched it together, I believe. I might have liked it a little bit more than you did at that time, but I didn't love it either. And then I ended up, there was something that kept drawing me back to wanting to watch it again. I watched it again. I was just like, I actually really do like this film. So,
Nice. Cool. Well, my runner-ups, I don't have too many. I have what?
Just 28.
Just 11. That's not too bad. So we got The Host, which is a really cool monster movie done by Bong Joon-ho, who went on to make Snowpiercer, Parasite, a lot of really interesting movies. So it's a monster movie, but it's not your normal monster movie for sure. Black Snake Moan, which is a movie that really shouldn't work for a lot of reasons, but it's actually a really good movie. Southland Tales. Okay, this movie is not very popular. A lot of people don't like this movie. Most people think it's
me included.
Most people think it's a giant mess. I appreciate a good big giant mess, especially from a filmmaker who's really not even trying to make something normal. I like that. I respect that. I think it's a fun movie. Not for everybody though. Behind the Mask. We talked about that last time. That was my challenge for you. It's just a real fun mock documentary twist on the slasher genre.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Final Destination 3. I'm a fan of the Final Destination movies, but 3 is probably my favorite of all of them. I like them all except for this one, the fourth one, which is a pile of crap. But all the other ones I like, and number 3 is my favorite, I think. It's got Mary Elizabeth Winstead in it, which is fun because she went on to be bigger things. Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny. I'm a big Tenacious D fan. Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. Okay, so this is a fun movie. If you know anything about trauma movies, then you know what to expect. But I'm not a big trauma fan, to be honest. But this is a really fun one. It's really disgusting, like all trauma movies. The Dead Girl. Honestly, I have not seen this movie since the first time I watched it in 2006. Great ensemble cast. I liked it enough to buy the DVD. I remember really loving it. I should watch it again to make sure that I really love it. But it's got an amazing cast. Toni Collette, James Franco, Marcia Gay Harden, Piper Laurie, Brittany Murphy, one of her last roles, Giovanni Ribisi, Mary Steenburgen, Kerry Washington. It's a really good, depressing, that seems to be the theme this year, ensemble
For you.
movie. Yeah.
For you.
Yeah. This was almost your challenge movie. It's a movie called All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. It's another kind of like Behind the Mask. It's kind of it's not a mock documentary, but it's kind of an interesting twist on the slasher subgenre. Monster House, just a fun Halloween kids movie. Actually does push the PG rating a little bit. It's pretty dark for a kids movie. Again, dark. It's a dark year, I guess. And lastly, Mulberry Street, which is a really fun low budget monster movie that I had the fortune of seeing in the theater, unlike most people. But it's a fun movie, very New York, low budget horror movie. Well done. So those are my runner ups.
Cool.
Yeah.
On to our challenge films. What's your challenge film for me for 2007? So, before we get into that, if this is your first time watching the show, hopefully it's not, or maybe it is. Hopefully it is, actually. Never mind. But if you're first time watching the show, we do a challenge film for the year that's upcoming. So he'll suggest a film that he's seen that I haven't seen, and I'll suggest a film that I've seen that he hasn't seen. It's always more difficult for me because he watches like a million movies a year, and I just pretty much watch, the cream of the crop. So there's a lot more options for him to choose from me than there's to choose from him. So but go ahead.
Judging by your top tens, I don't know if it is the cream of the crop anyway, but just kidding. There were quite a few to choose from this time. There were a lot of pretty good movies from 2007 that you hadn't seen, but the choice was easy, especially considering we're coming into the Halloween season. So my pick for you is Trick or Treat. So
okay.
I think you're really going to enjoy that. Obviously it's a Halloween movie, and it's a horror film, and it's an anthology. So it's really, I love horror anthologies. I think you're gonna like it. It's very, very Creepshow, and I know that's one of your favorite movies. It's another several short stories that, in this case, they intersect. Creepshow, they're all separate, but this is one where it's all Halloween night in this one town, and all these storylines kind of converge, and it's a really fun, really spooky, get you in the mood for Halloween kind of movie. So I look forward to hearing what you think about that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I will definitely check out Trick or Treat. Cool.
Yeah.
When I go trick or treating. So. And I still go. No, I'm joking. I had a tough time, obviously, but I settled on this one just because I know you like the actor. So I settled on Hot Rod for you, which is an Andy Samberg. Yeah.
I've seen that, dude.
Oh, it's on your. Yeah, it was on there.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it's on your list, dude. I looked at it. It was on there.
Oh man, what was your backup then? Because I love Hot Rod.
Oh, that was it, man. I don't have a backup. No. Well, now I gotta look, man. Yeah. Reno 911 Miami.
Oh, the movie. Okay.
Yeah, the
All
movie.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
So yeah,
all right.
there we go. That'll work.
Okay.
Another
All right.
comedy.
Yeah, I love the show. So yeah. I'm surprised.
So Reno
when I saw
911.
that, I was surprised I had never seen the movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think I like that one. So that's the backup. So
okay,
perfect.
All right.
I'm glad I had a backup just in case. So
Yeah,
but these things happen. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was on your not seen list. So
I remember seeing that on yours, and I remember almost thinking about giving it to you because I loved Hot Rod.
Oh, okay. No, I've seen Hot Rod also.
Oh, I don't know. Cool. We got our wires crossed somehow here.
Somewhere, but Reno 911, we'll go with that. So cool.
I'm not upset about that. I love the show.
Cool. Well, then you will hopefully love the movie.
Yeah, hopefully.
So Trick or Treat. So sorry for the mishap. So Trick or Treat and a Reno 911 Miami.
Yeah.
Cool.
That works.
All right. Well, we thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We will be back again with another show soon. Clearly at some point we'll get to our 2007 films where we'll do those challenge films. You'll definitely want to stay tuned for that. As always, if you like the channel, we ask that you like, subscribe, leave us a comment, and as always, hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of our updates. We will be back again soon. We thank you guys again for watching, and we hope you have a great day. Bye.